Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast. This is the Maxwell podcast. And today I have with me a topic that I've never brought this type of person on here before. We're talking about money. Well, we talk about money a lot, but this one is the mortgage. The mortgage. How do you get a loan to do what you want to do with your personal house, with your investments? This is why I brought my guy, Matt Garland, MG, the mortgage guy,
my man
Maxwell. Podcast, man. Welcome to North Carolina, first of all.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
I know you went to school here.
Yeah, I went to school in Durham. I went to Central.
Okay.
NCCU, Eagle Pride, Step Up. Even though I'm a college dropout, but I still represent for Eagles, man. Shout out to everybody who went to Central, man.
That's what's up, man. So let's start diving into you. You go to Central. Why'd you drop out? Just bad student?
Easy. Nah. Definitely wasn't a bad student, right? I was a lazy student. I'll tell you that. School never interested me. Funny story is I went to school my whole freshman year, went back to register for my sophomore year, and they told me that my student loans were declined for my freshman year. So typically when your loans are declined, they tell you right away.
So you had to pay, that was all on you.
That was all on me. Woo. So I couldn't register for my sophomore year until I paid my
therefore I'm not coming back.
But I'm from New York, so that's out of state tuition.
Oh yeah, that's
this
right.
This is 1996, 97. So that was like 12, 13 grand, I believe, somewhere around there. I said, yo, Pops, what's good? Pops said, listen.
Ain't nothing good with that.
Ain't nothing good with that. You on your own, brother. You got to figure that one out. I tried. It didn't go through. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm still out here, though. So I actually used to go to class in my sophomore year because I was embarrassed. I didn't tell nobody at first. Only my close boys knew. But
so you was in class, but you wasn't supposed to be there?
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be there because, look, man, you come all the way from New York. You're down here. And you're trying to get an education, you're trying to do better by yourself, and you can't go to school. It's kind of embarrassing.
Oh, 100%. Bro. I can see what happened.
And all my boys are in class and doing their thing, so I felt like the black sheep for a little while.
Yeah.
Man. But it was crazy.
So did you finally stop going to class?
Yeah, I finally stopped going to class. I got into some other things, what I'm saying? Got into a little hustling, throwing parties. I mean, we was on a world tour before tours were like the thing. We tore up the South, man. All my boys is from New York. So if anybody understands the South when you come from New York.
You be like, oh man, this is for the taking. This is wide open.
It was what, 29-1, 30-1? Mm-hmm. Come on, man. It was a field day. And you got to understand, what we're doing now wasn't then in the 90s.
Yeah.
There was no Google, no internet, there was no Facebook, Instagram. So when people from the South are seeing New York folks, they're seeing Jay-Z, Nas. So we come down there, we look like these folks, we dress like them, we talk like them.
You took advantage of it.
Of course.
Got to. That's what a true hustler does.
And perfect massive action.
That's crazy. I like that. So did you eventually go back to New York or what?
So I stayed out in North Carolina for 5.5 years. I went back right after 9/11.
Okay.
So right after the tower was dropped, God bless everybody who lost their life there and everybody who was affected by that. But right after 9/11, I went back to New York and just tried to figure it out, man. By that time, all my boys were graduating. I got dudes who are lawyers, doctors, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, I got to figure something out. I was kind of like a nomad.
Yeah.
I was homeless for a while. I was sleeping on people's couches. My nickname in college, I keep it real with you. My nickname in college was BJ, man. You know what BJ stood for? Broke joke. I never said that.
So you was couch skipping.
I was a nomad, bro. I'm talking about I'll be at one person house this week, another person house this week, just trying to figure it out. And I was always a dream chaser. I was always a visionary. I was always trying to hustle something, trying to figure something out. And by God's grace, I went back home, started working for TSA right when TSA came after 9/11. I started doing that. I
can't see you as a TSA officer, bro.
Dude, that's how I met my girl. You know what I'm saying?
I can't see you as a TSA officer.
You got to understand, so now I'm a TSA officer, right? And I still got that same mentality.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
A wild African dog, right? So now I'm like just a wild dog.
In a controlled environment.
But now I can control. So now you see them shorties coming through, like, listen, I got to check your bag. I got to do this. That's how I met my girl.
You see this badge? I got to check your bag.
Yeah, that's how I met my girl. I'm not even going to hold you up. So ladies, listen, I'm going to tell you, if you're getting stopped in the airport by a dude,
there's a reason.
There's a reason. They plotting,
That's how you found your wife.
That's how I found my wife. You know what I'm saying?
How long you been married now?
We're not married. We've been together for almost 18 years now, off and on. 3 kids, never got married. We got engaged right before the crash. And once, the crash happened, my father passed away, the crash happened, my son was born 6 months after that.
Bunch of life-changing events.
Bunch of life-changing, man. I went through so much depression, man. I lost everything, everything. So for me, we wasn't thinking about, getting married. At that point, it was more about, hey, how do we pay these bills?
How do we survive?
We
ain't think about no wedding right now. You crazy?
Nah, no wedding. We gotta give me back that freaking $15,000 ring.
Let me go.
I gotta go pawn that joint because we gotta save the Beamer. You know what I'm saying? We gotta save the cars to our best of our ability. We gotta put food on the table, right? So that was the thought. Then we never got married. We had our ups and downs, but we never got married.
Was it a culture shock? Not like culture, but was it because it's very affordable to live here. Mm-hmm. When you left here from couch skipping, you knew what rent costs, and then you went back to New York. Was you like, oh my goodness?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, even back then, we're talking about 2002, right? So 2002, you're going back to New York. It's still expensive compared to here. Now you coming off having $400 or $500 a month rent to now like, all right, I gotta live in the crib with pops. I'm like, and then this fool want me to pay $1,200-$1,300. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I just got a room. Like I ain't got the whole apartment. Like, what are you talking about? So it was definitely a culture shock, but it's New York. I'm a New Yorker. So for me, it wasn't that much of a culture shock because that's where I'm born. That's where I'm raised. We used to tight quarters back home.
Used to it.
Yeah, it's life. It's everyday life. So when you come down here and you see the little mega mansions and everything like that for $150,000, it's like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell? You can't even get a co-op, a studio apartment for that back home. But again, it's nothing like New York.
True.
So for me, I know I needed to get out of the South because in the South, it can make you lazy.
100%.
It's really nothing to do back then. There's nothing to do out here.
Thank God for the internet, right?
Thank God for the internet, especially for the people that live in southern regions and stuff like that, because I think that helped advance.
It connected everybody
It connected everybody from different places. So back then, when you didn't have all of that, you had to really go home to like kind of get that energy through your system. Mm-hmm. Now, when you come to the South, you're seeing trees. Your neighbor's house is all the way over here. It's like, come on, it gets dark and it's dark, right? Only thing you hear, no street lights, no sidewalks. All you hear is bugs. And it's just like, all right, I guess I'm in for the night, right? Yeah. So you get kind of in that mold. You get complacent.
Yeah, you're right.
You get very comfortable.
I do love the energy whenever I'm in New York. I can't stand the cold. I was born in Westchester County, but I can't stand the cold. And I like the vibe in New York. I say if I ever move to New York, I would never really move to New York, but I get like a summer condo or something like that. Yeah, in the city.
No, it's nothing like New York, man. Yeah. New York is the gift and the curse, man.
100%. Because here's the other side. I see people get trapped in New York.
Yeah, you can get trapped. You can get trapped into that New York state of mind.
And be afraid to leave.
And afraid to explore and say, you know what, I don't want to live here because, you know what, I can go 20 minutes and I can be here or I can be there and I can do this and I can do that, right? And then when you go out of that, you're like, wait a minute, it's boring out here. I don't have to do nothing. But the people are saying that, no, honestly, they don't even do it at home.
Period.
They're at home.
But it's just knowing that they can.
It's just the fact that you know that you can leave and go anywhere. You can have any ethnicity food. You can go any culture. You can explore, right? It's a melting pot. Right.
That's what makes New York.
And that's what makes New York so phenomenal, that it's not boring. It's not the same routine. It's not, you don't get complacent. Now you can if you just, that type of person, but people fear coming to the South because they feel like their life is going to be over. And it's not the case, man. The South is where it's at.
I love it down here.
Man, listen, man, if I have my choice, Tony, if you're listening, if I have my choice, I'll be down here.
Making good money in the South and living in the South is it's affordable. It feels 10 times better.
It feels great, man. When look, I have a lot of friends and family, North Carolina, Atlanta, South Carolina, and to see how they're living, and they're not crushing it. Yeah, but they're doing okay. They're doing okay, and they live great lives. Their children are great.
Quality of life is good.
The quality of life, I think, is different. The quality of life, from me and my family and my friends up north, we all live good. Yeah. Thank God that we all have a couple dollars with us. Yeah. But down there, you can definitely really like oh man, you like rose petals. Yeah, right? You walk in, rose petals can be thrown on your feet, man. It's different.
For sure. So let's talk about when you actually got into the mortgage business. Okay. Like how'd that happen? Because you're now back home. So, you're living with pops. You're trying to figure out life. All your guys is graduated. They college. They doctors. They lawyers. They figured it out.
Correct.
And you like, oh, come on, man,
Correct.
I gotta do something. So you move back home. When'd you get into mortgage business?
So I'm at TSA, and I'm at TSA. I wound up getting laid off for budget cuts, just to make a long story. Budget cuts.
Yeah, because
right?
what happened was when the TSA was created, is an influx of people that they needed, and then they realized they need to scale back.
They had to scale back.
Same thing the military does. They overhire and then they get
overhire and they fire, right? Same thing like banks do.
Yep.
They overhire and they fire, right? So I was one of those casualties, right, that had to get let go. So I'm home like, oh, I'm now with Tony. We're 1 year into our relationship, if that. I'm like, what am I going to do? So my best friend, shout out to my guy Phil, he's a pastor out in Atlanta right now. He calls me one day. He was like, yo, bro, why don't you look in the paper and look for jobs for mortgages? So I'm like, mortgages? What's a mortgage, bro? He's like, when people buy a house, they need a loan. I'm like, oh, okay. Mortgage. He's like, my guy, Little Ant, he's out here killing it, blah, 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 blah. I said, Little Ant is killing it. I know I can kill it too. Yeah. So I looked in the paper, bro. I saw like, wait a minute. All these jobs for mortgages, I never looked.
And
I was
the economy doing very well at this time, right?
It's 2003, 2 so it was okay.
That's right.
It was okay.
When 9/11 happened, things were still shaky.
Things were still shaky, but things were still starting to rebuild back in New York. I think obviously in New York we felt it more than anybody because we can actually see where the towers were and they're not there no more. So it hit us a little bit different than the rest of the world. But things are still moving. Subprime market was blazing at this time, but I had no knowledge of it at this time. I had no clue.
Explain what subprime is.
So subprime is basically a mortgage that's not. It's not a paper.
It's a high risk type.
It's a high risk type of loan with someone who may have lower credit scores, minimum down payment. Maybe have a lot of derogatory credit items that happened in the past.
It usually costs more money for the person.
And it's more expensive. But back then, that was the norm. So when I came into the business, so fast forward, I call somebody, I get a job, they hire me on the spot. And the beautiful thing about this company, instead of throwing me to the floor, they had a training class for 6 weeks that you had to pass the training class in order to keep your employment. So I went through that, I passed, and I started learning loans. Man, you just needed a post to get a mortgage. You didn't really, not like how it is today where you had to document everything. So all the subprime loans then, you can do 100% financing. You can get seller's concession. You can have a 560 credit score and put 5% down. There was no technology in the mortgage industry then. So you can literally buy 4 houses the same day, all primary residence. Like it was crazy,
Wow.
A lot of people took advantage, including myself, right? You can go ahead and buy homes and like, hey, I could have an application here, application here, application here, which is not the right thing to do. But there was no regulation.
Yeah, it was the wild west.
It was the wild cowboy days, right? So the subprime market, and that's kind of played a part of the market crashing because now you have all these short-term loans. There was really no 30-year fixed mortgages that people were doing at that time. That I didn't know of, I should say, right? They were out there. You had FHA out there. You had Fannie Mae products out there. But why am I going to give you all my documentation, my blood type, and my whole life story when I can get a rate that's a 0.5 point higher than what you're asking and I can put in no documentation? Right?
No proof of income.
No proof of income, stated income loans. I mean, we had negative amortization loans. I mean, we had pick and pay loans. I mean, there was so many different loans. It was like Baskin Robbins, bro.
Is that why you think was a big part of the economy crashing?
Absolutely. It played a major part in it, right? People were not qualified.
And what was the idea to get the loan and sell it?
Get the loan, sell it. Obviously the mortgage bankers and brokers, we're going to make our money up front. They're going to sell it in the back end on the secondary market. And then ultimately it was another transaction built into it. Because remember, these people are taking out 2-year fixed, 3-year fixed. So within a year,
there's 18, a balloon or something.
There's either a balloon or your rate is going to start increasing. So how we were taught, how I was taught when I came in, we didn't sell 30-year fixed mortgages at all. We were always building in for the setup for a year later for the second refinance, right? So when someone will purchase, you're selling the 2-year fix or the 3-year fix, right? The get back on track program is what we used to dub it, right? You had some credit events, fine, no problem. We can help you buy this house.
Do right by me for 2-3 years. And
make your payments on time for at least 12 months. And then after the 12 months, we'll give you a call and we'll refinance you and we'll put you into a better program. And it was working like that. It was phenomenal, right? For someone young who's coming into the business, not really knowing it at all. And being able to make this money hand over fist. Now, I'm taught by ex-Wall Streeters, right? You know, if you've seen the movie Boiler Room, right? Mm-hmm. I was kind of taught by those type of dudes, right? Pound the phone all day, smile and dial. There's no relationships. Here's some leads. Call them. These are the rebuttals. This is what you got to say. This is how you got to sell it. And that was me, 12 hours a day, man, in the boiler room, grinding, man, grinding, just writing loans left and right, left and right, left and right. And, you know, ultimately it caught up to everybody.
So the crash happened.
So now the crash happened.
What do you think? Because you're in it. That's how you make your money. You're the mortgage guy.
I'm in it. And it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean this bank just went out of business? I got 15 loans over there. Now you got to take the 15 loans and go to another bank. A week later, they go out of business. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's happening here?
And that's why I've never had a perspective of anybody that was in it. Like, that was actually truly in the mortgage business when it happened. So it's melted in front of your face.
Yeah, they used to have a website called the Mortgage Implode Meter, right? Seriously.
Yeah.
And they will list all the banks that imploded and the ones that was on the clock to implode and the reasons why they think they're going to implode.
Wow.
And guess what? They will freaking implode. So now you talking, this is like 2007. Now, banks are starting to go out of business. I'm like, let me just go buy a BMW. I don't know what they're talking about. Money's falling off the trees right now. Then now, next thing you know, father dies. I'm like, okay, girl, Tony's pregnant with my son, Chris. Shout out to Chris. Brooke is like 1.5. I'm like, okay, I'm making money hand and fist. So when you have small kids and you're making this type of money, $30,000, $40,000 a month, Pampers don't matter.
At all.
Nothing. That's nothing, right? So now you start seeing this. So when the people who didn't look like me were telling me, young man, you're spending too much money, right? You need to start saving. You need to start doing this. Stop doing these partnerships and buying these properties and doing this. No, you need to hold. You need to stop.
Store cash right now.
Store, right? I'm like, please, old man. Like, because you don't look like me.
You've never been through a cycle yet.
I never been through a cycle. I don't believe what you're saying because I'm thinking money's falling off of trees. You know what I'm saying? And then the people that look like me that were the OGs, they only cared about making money off of me. So while they were storing their cash and everything like that, go young man, go, right? So there was no guidance. I was just young, dumb, and full of I tell people this shit all the time. So going through it, bro, it was before my eyes to see you have all this money coming in to know like, damn, I have nothing coming in. Like, what's happening here? And now I have telemarketers. I had a telemarketer shop, probably like 15, 20 telemarketers at one time.
That was doing the call-ins.
Doing all the call-ins. So now I got payroll. Now I got to start letting people off. I'm like, this is crazy. I have property. Got to lose property now, right? Now everything flips, turn to flops now. Now you got to try to be a landlord. Don't know nothing about being a landlord. Now you get a bad tenant. Tenant never pays. New York landlord rules are crazy, right?
You don't want to go there.
Like, it's crazy. So now, like, wait a minute, you got to go through this? I don't want to go through this. Freaking let the house go. Who cares, right? So now you got foreclosures, short sales happening. You know, even my personal residence had to foreclose on that. Because at one point, you know, one story I tell people all the time, Max, I remember, and it just popped in my head. I remember sitting in my 750 Li.
Nice BMW.
One of the first ones that hit New York when the 740s were still out, right? And I remember sitting there with a $2,500 suit on and a $100,000 car with a $20-something thousand watch on my wrist, and I can't even put gas in my car nor feed the babies. Wow. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do right now? So now you got to go sell watches. Now you got to hide the car from the repo man. Like, I'm like, fuck off. Like, this
just turned upside down in a matter of months.
Oh, depression. Straight depression, because my happiness was built on materialistic items.
Wow.
You know, I was all in. My whole ego, my whole persona was all about.
You played that role that was given to you in the boiler room.
It was a role. You know, it wasn't truly me, and I got lost into that role. I got lost into my alter ego. You know, a lot of guys that I know that was in the business young, making that type of money, our egos were crazy.
It's hard at that age, or any age really, to just come from sleeping on couches to making $40,000 a month.
Oh yeah, nah, it's a culture shock. Now that's the culture shock right there. Because no one that I could, like me growing up, my pops only told me, hey, you need to get a job, you need to have benefits. Listen, my family's either drug dealers or drug users, right? So for me, being the youngest boy in my family, it was like my pops was very firm. Like, you're not going to end up like
everybody else,
like everyone else. Like, so for me, but I was never taught money. I was never taught credit.
It's not in our system.
It's not in our system. It wasn't in our system in my personal household. So now you start making all this money. You're like, what do you want to do? Who do you idolize? You idolize the drug dealers. You idolize the athletes. You want to look like that. So now you're going to the club, you're buying bars, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're having a great time. You're going to Vegas, you're going to AC, you're gambling, losing 10 grand. Okay, who cares? I got 20 coming next week. It doesn't matter, right? You're not thinking logically. So when all that starts happening when you're young and you're balling out of control, and then now you lose it just as quick as you got it, you lose it within 18 months. It's like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. And now I'm working for companies, bro. One company go out of business. Go to another company 6 months later, go out of business. Another company, go out of business. Like, what the is going on here?
That had to be a crazy feeling. I was just, at that point, I was a broker. And I was a real estate broker. So I was doing real estate, and I had one guy that I had all his portfolio. Okay. A lot of money. And he was just selling randomly. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, we just got all these nice, like, he's just dumping. Dump this complex, dump this commercial. Yeah. Get rid of these 5 units. Get rid of all these single families. And I was making money because I was selling them, but it was like he had a crystal ball to see that it was just tanking.
He was able to see the markets for what it truly was.
He probably was on the mortgage side of things or something. Yeah. He was seeing telltale signs somewhere from something.
Somewhere. He had the right information. Yeah. You know, and with me, the people who were trying to give me the information just because they didn't look like me.
You didn't believe them.
I didn't believe them. Look, I'm looking at, you're a hater. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I got this watch on.
I'm young and dumb and full of muck, like I said. So the ego also too. So now when someone from another culture is trying to really put game on you, you're not looking at it at 25, 26. I know for me, I'm not looking at it as, yo, this is some game. You know,
crazy.
And you just go through it. You go through your depression, and you know it was hard, man. It was hard. Like, I've been on both sides, man. I tell people all the time, my mess is my message today, and that's why if anyone follows me, like when I tell people, don't over leverage, don't do this, don't do that, is because I'm coming from a place of, because I was a person who over leveraged. I'm a person who had a lot and lost a lot. Yeah. And I want people to understand, you don't never want to go through that. So that's why when people be on my page, I'm waiting for the recession. Like, are you stupid? Like, do you know what a recession is?
That you've been through it.
Like, do you really understand what a recession is? Yeah. You have no clue. I don't wish that on anybody.
You've been through it.
I've been through it. I was
on the front lines.
I was on the front lines. I was like, you know, when Saving Private Ryan and they all got out the boats and they started getting hit up. Like, that was me. I was one of the first ones who got shot. You know what I'm saying?
I don't wish that on anybody.
Like, I don't wish that on nobody in the world. So it's not about people, you know, oh, I want to make money in a recession. It's not a third grade. If you do the right thing, you will make money if a recession happens. But real people get affected by this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
People really lose houses.
People lose houses, cars. They lose everything. People lose their lives. They commit suicide. I tried to commit suicide at one time.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
And that was common back then.
It's very common. Like, you got to understand, I have 2 young children. I'm depressed as hell. I lost everything. I'm watching myself tank. And I'm like, what the hell do I have no college degree. Back then you needed a college degree to get a good job. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? This is the first thing that I've ever come across that I was actually good at. I've earned. No one can, Time Warner can't pay me
$30,000-$40,000 a month.
$300,000-$400,000 a year. like I can't go there. And Tony's like, yo, you got to get a job. You got to get a job. I'm like, for what? Like, for me to make minimum wage or $30,000-$40,000 when I was making that a month? Like, so my ego and my pride would not let me get a real job. I went on interviews, but I'm showing up in the interviews in a $2,000 suit, and I'm looking at them like, come on, bro. Like, what are you paying? Like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. So you go through that depression, and you know, finally, you know, like I said, I tried to commit suicide one time, just pills. Crazy. And I couldn't do it. Because then I'm like, I have children. Like, that's not what I'm built. I built on faith. Yeah. So, you know, my best friend, like I said, is a pastor, man. And he just started speaking into me. You know, him and one of my homegirl, Tamika, she's in the church every too. Those are my 2 guardian angels. And they just really started speaking into me. Yeah. And speaking the good word all the time into me. And it's just like, it just clicked one day.
Perspective.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of perspective. Like, you know what? This ain't the end of the world. Yeah. Like, I can bounce back from it.
So fast forward, you've been in this business 18 years now.
18 years now.
And you're now running a successful mortgage. You're a mortgage broker. You never really got out.
No, I never got out.
Yeah. No. So you bounce back. Now you're in it for 18 years. And now I say we're in this new era of people wanting to understand financial literacy. Would you agree? Like, it's like,
I love it.
Like with the whole earn your leisure movement.
Shout out to EYL.
You know, Envy's going around talking
Shout out
about
to
it.
Envy and Caesar.
Yeah. It's just like, so now you're like, you know what? I need to tell people.
You know what? It's funny. And what's happening now is amazing, right? And I tell people this all the time. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in August, right? I may look young, but I'm not young.
Yeah.
And I came up in the game. If this was around when I first came in the game, I'll be 100 millionaire right now.
And that's the same thing I used to tell people. If I learned this when I first got out of the military at 2021,
easy.
I would be unstoppable.
The people that are following us, Max, they have such a big opportunity, and they are way ahead of the game than we are.
Correct.
Because people like us are out here, you know, educating in our respective fields.
I see guys, you know, I just did my conference in Atlanta. I just see guys that are like, I'm 19 and I did 7 deals this year and I made 70,000. I'm like,
that's amazing.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And they look at it like, no, I'm not doing enough. They play themselves down. I'm like, no, bro.
You don't know where you at.
You don't know where you at. You're 19 and just made
a long roll.
You got a long roll.
I'm 35. You're good. You're 15 years ahead of me.
Exactly. And I tell people that all the time. So like with the movement right now, this financial literacy movement, I tell people all the time, we're the new rappers.
Yeah.
You know, we are the new,
That's true.
We're the new
sports guys.
We're those new people that people are looking into who want to get into one of our respective fields.
Yeah.
And they come to us to learn. You know, we're the new education. We're the new teachers. We're the new professors.
Yeah.
And I take that role really serious. And I'm very serious about what I say to people because I don't want to ever mislead anyone.
100%.
I don't want nobody to think this is all roses and it's all shining lights. No, it's a lot of work to go into real estate. You know, real estate is a great way to park your money and make long term. But a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they want it now.
Can't see past it.
They can't see past 2020. Yeah. And I'm like, no, man, you got to think about 2030.
There you go.
You got to build slow.
We've all heard those stories where you say, man, I remember when these buildings used to be $30,000, $40,000.
Yeah.
Start that now. So I remember when those buildings was 200,000.
Yeah.
They $2 million now.
They $2 million now.
So let's tackle some of like some education questions.
Cool.
So let's talk. I'm gonna try to change the role, and I'm gonna be different people, right?
All right.
So that you can help educate our audience. I got a decent job, right? I could, I've been employed for 3-4 years. I got a decent job, whatever decent is perspective, wherever you live at. And I never bought a house. I'm living in an apartment now. I want to come to you. What should I be looking to do?
I mean, first and foremost, your mind got to be right. People always ask me, where you start first? Your mind.
I believe it. You know I believe that.
Yeah, I know. That's your thing.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything. And I firmly believe that because if your mind is not right, then you can't excel. You have to be the CEO of your business, whether it's your first time buying a house,
100%.
Whether you are a seasoned investor, whether you are a first time investor, right? You have to think like a CEO. You got to get your mind right. You got to get your emotions out of the way. There's too many, especially the first time home buyer market, they're very emotional, which I get and I understand. But for me, I try to coach them on mindset and being that CEO. Treat this like a business, even if you're going to look in the house.
It's a business decision.
It's a business decision, right? Because this first deal can set you up for deal number 10 if it's done correctly.
Correct.
And there's so many people out here that do deal 1 wrong.
It messes up.
And it messes up. It's a domino effect, right? Now you're scrambling trying to get it right. So number 1, get your mind right. Think like the CEO. Number 2, credit. Credit is the foundation of everything in America. Without credit, you can't do anything. So understanding your credit scores, understanding utilization of the credit, most importantly, especially with all the new credit scoring models that's about to take place in the next couple of months. You see TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, they're all changing their scoring models, right? Because now with technology, companies are able to dive in. These companies,
much more information.
It's way much more information. Now they're going to be able to dive in your spending habits, how you really spend and stuff like that. So if you have bad or low credit now, it can potentially get worse if you don't watch and manage your spending. And the people who are in that mid 6s, 7s probably still be good, but it's that lower tier market. You got to really watch how you spending your money and how you utilize your credit. Don't max out, little stuff that you can't do, right?
So let me ask you some questions from this perspective of a potential client. I'm gonna set it up. I've been working a job 3-4 years. I'm making a decent amount of money. I've got, what type of credit do I need to buy a house?
FHA minimum 580, conventional 620.
Okay, how much money do I need to put down?
FHA minimum 3.5%. Conventional could be as low as 3% to 5%. And this is only for your primary residence.
So, okay, got it. So if I go the FHA route, do you recommend that for first-time home buyers?
Every mortgage is a tool, Max.
Got it.
You know,
Okay.
I don't care if it's FHA, VA, conventional, USDA.
There's a good product out there.
There's a product out there for you. And you gotta, and my job is to be able to first assess your situation and present all the options to you. And that way you can see everything and make the best decision and not think about deal one, right?
This is for down the road.
Let's look at the whole picture. What is one of the first questions I ask anybody, what are your real estate goals? What do you want to accomplish with real estate? So that way I have a clear understanding of what your vision is. And that way when I'm custom tailoring my mortgages to you, I'm presenting a light that can match up not just your short-term goals, but can match up your long-term goals as well.
Got it. Is there a good time or a better time or a bad time to buy a house during the year?
Whenever the time is right for you.
Perfect. Okay. So I need to have decent credit score depending on what type of loan I'm going to go with, but anywhere between 580
Yep.
and up. There's
580 and up. Now, obviously, let's keep in mind, 580, when you add the minimum scores,
a lot more work.
Your interest rate is going to reflect that, right? It's probably going to be scrutinized a little bit more in underwriting.
Let's talk about interest rates.
Okay.
What a mortgage is comprised of what? A mortgage payment, like what does it equal?
So your mortgage payment will be comprised of the principal and interest, which goes to the bank.
So what's principal?
The principal is what you're paying towards your balance.
Okay.
Right? The interest is what you're paying the profit to the bank, basically,
Correct, yeah.
for lending you the money. Then you have your taxes. Right?
Taxes go to who?
Yeah, property taxes go to the county.
Got it. Okay.
Right? And then you have your homeowner's insurance. And if you're doing like an FHA loan, then you have the PMI.
So why I need insurance for?
For homeowner's insurance or PMI?
Why I need homeowner's insurance?
Because if your house burned down, who's going to fix it?
That's true. So the bank is protecting the asset, right?
Yeah, you got to protect the asset. You got to protect yourself too. Things happen in life, right? Houses burn down all the time, right? You know, floods happen.
Got it.
Mother Nature happens, right? So you need that protection for homeowners insurance.
New scenario.
Okay.
I've been in my house for 5 years. I own a house. I bought it right. I got a little bit of equity in it. I've been watching this guy, Maxwell, online. He's talking about investing to a property. I want to invest in a property. Do you have stuff for that too?
Absolutely. We can do a refinance on that existing property and possibly do a cash out refinance, right? Pull out some of that equity. Or if they're in a good position with their first mortgage with a good rate, you know, they have some time into that mortgage, then we can explore doing a home equity line of credit, which I would highly recommend. Home equity line of credit is a 10-year fix. 10-year interest only. Right? So you're only making interest only payments for the first 2 years. So a home equity line of credit works like a credit card.
Also known as a HELOC, right?
Or a HELOC, right? Now you use it, you pay it back. You use it, you pay it back, right? And you're able to do that for 10 years, and then after 10 years it converts into a 20-year mortgage.
Is it like a separate account they give you?
It's a second mortgage. Okay. So on your deed, you'll have the first mortgage, and then you have that second mortgage on there. You get it's a whole, depending on the lender you go to, you have a whole separate bank account for it.
Okay.
They'll give you either checks. A lot of them are now giving debit cards that you can use for it, and it's your money. And the great thing about a HELOC, Max, is that you don't pay interest on money you're not using.
So if they give you $50,000 and you're only using 10 right now,
you're only paying interest on the 10.
Perfect.
Exactly. Unlike the cash out refinance, if you take out 50, day one that payment is due, you're paying interest back on that 50,000.
Okay. Perfect. So I live in my house. I'm trying to buy an investment property. You have products for that too.
Correct.
That's crazy. So,
Correct.
Okay.
I'm the mortgage guy, Max. That's what I do.
What if I got 3 properties? I live in one and I got 2 rentals.
No problem. I have products for it. I'm the mortgage guy.
So there's really a loan for every situation that you can think of.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many tools out there right now for it. No matter if you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, if you're looking to put it all in your LLC, there's products out there for there where your personal credit is not touched. If you're looking for, we have cash flow loans, we have bank statement loans, we have light dock loans.
So check this out.
We have everything, bro.
So say I'm a wholesaler. I've been watching Max for 2 years. I'm doing 10 deals a year, whatever. I got a little bit of money, and I come across this fourplex I want to keep. Can I come to you?
Absolutely. So now with the wholesaler, right, your audience is probably going to be more of that, right? Mm-hmm. First of all, hopefully you're filing your taxes and you're doing everything the right way. Mm-hmm. You know, make sure you're on the books, you're legitimate as a business. That's number one. But now you want to go ahead and buy this fourplex, and you don't want it in your personal name. You want to keep it in your business name. Great. We can use the cash flow from that property to qualify and not even use your tax returns, right? And now, depending on how much cash flows on that property, we'll give you a loan. Typically, it's around 20 to 25% down payment, give or take. A little bit more expensive than if you would go to the conventional route.
So if I want to buy like a $100,000 fourplex, right?
You put out $25K.
And that's it. I should have that because I'm wholesaling.
Absolutely.
Keep my money.
Absolutely. You got your $25K for your down payment. Then you got your closing costs, which will probably be 6 to 7%. So you probably need all in 30 to 32% for that transaction. So about 32, 35,000.
But I got 100. But I'm a wholesaler, so I'm buying it cheap anyway.
You're buying it cheap. It's undervalued because you know what you're doing. You probably found your own deal, right? And you're going in there probably with an ARV of 60, 70% anyway, because that's your numbers, right? That's what y'all do. So it's a win-win. But now, if that wholesaler wants to buy their own primary residence, right? Now you don't want to put that in the LLC because now that's in a higher interest rate. That's why, I just said you need to make sure you're filing your taxes properly, so that way now you can take advantage of the cheap money. There's two lanes in my world. You either have cheap money or expensive money. Pick your poison. Yeah. Right.
Cheap money is good when you either doing a lot of deals or it's your first time residence or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
The more expensive money is expensive to the general public, but since our returns are so high,
exactly,
we don't mind paying X percentage.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell people all the time, stop paying attention to interest rate so much, right? Interest rate is important, but it's not the end all be all to that product, right? Did it help you achieve your goal? Number one. Right. And if it helped you achieve your goal, especially if it's an investment, what's your ROI? What's your cash on cash return? Those are the most important numbers that you need to be figuring out if you're an investor. Yeah. Not, this guy's charging me 12%. Wait a minute. You're doing a flip. You're about to make $150,000.
I'll pay the 12%, bro.
Pay the 12%.
Pay the 13, 15%.
Who cares at the end of the
it's
day?
The cost of doing business.
It's the cost. It's the opportunity cost, period, point blank. Yeah. So if without that, you wouldn't be able to get that.
So you have hard money loan products if I want to flip a house. You have if I want to buy and hold and do a third, if I want to put tenants in the property.
Correct.
You have everything.
I have everything, man.
So there's no excuse why somebody shouldn't be able to start as wholesalers, and definitely my audience is starting to acquire properties because you have the products for them.
No, I mean, it's like anything, right? It's two lanes, earned income and passive income.
Correct.
You got to make sure you tap in both buckets.
Passes is for your taxes.
Absolutely.
You get the tax credit. So,
absolutely.
So we talk about, Mr. Robinson and everybody at the conference that we were talking about is you need to have a plan with your wholesaling business. A lot of people don't. They go into and I am going to wholesale 50 deals this year. Well, you need to have a plan. And my plan was every 7 houses I wholesale to buy one.
Smart.
Every 7 and 1. So 7 and 1. So I need to be, that goes into my holding money back so I can pick up a rental property. I'm picking up another one end of this month. I'm paying $38,000 cash for it. And it's worth 70 something thousand probably in the long run. And it's already cash flowing for somebody $750 a month.
Nice.
So
the cash on that is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
you have your money back in like 3 years.
Exactly, right? So I could have either went to you and got a quick loan or just be smart and wholesale and have the extra cash and just put it back in your property.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great formula. Even, a lot of the flippers that I work with, they have the kind of same rule, 4 to 5 flips, 1 rental property, 4 to 5 flips, 1 rental property. So it's just all on your strategy and your personal preference, right? I know wholesalers that don't want to ever own rental properties.
They need to stop that.
They either want to just continue to wholesale or flip.
That's going to, your tax implications on that are crazy.
Are ridiculous,
you
right?
need the whole property.
Taxes are real.
Like if you're looking at this on video right now, you can see what Mr. Robinson talks about is if you play this game of wholesaling all the time, you're never in the game of monopoly. You need to put something on your board.
You have to.
If you ain't putting something, because flipping and wholesaling puts nothing on your board. It's just a high paying job.
Yeah, basically.
That's it.
Basically, it's earned income.
Now, one thing I must confess, I've never went to the bank and took out a loan.
Okay, yeah, you said this to me before.
I need to stop that.
And when you said that to me, like, what?
I need to stop that. So everything I've ever bought is cash.
I mean, in the price point that you just mentioned, under 50K market is
but there's things,
a cash market.
I mean, I've bought things way more expensive than that, cash. The property I just bought for my personal residence is cash.
Okay.
I'm building my whole house cash. I need to stop that.
Yeah, you do.
I know. So that's my confession.
You need to refi.
Yeah, I need to do that.
You need to refinance and pull your money out.
Here's what I'm gonna do. So when I get done building my house, I'm gonna come to you.
Appreciate that.
And then I'm gonna refi some cash out of that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, let's do it.
It don't make no sense. I type $500,000 in a house. And then,
yeah, no, listen, I don't, me personally, right? And it's something I'm having this conversation because I reposted something for Dave Ramsey the other day, right?
I've seen it.
15-year versus 30,
and
right?
And because he makes these blanket statements that are supposed to fit everybody,
and it's not. It's just like, dude, what are you talking about, right? No disrespect to Dave Ramsey, right? I understand what he's trying to teach, and what he's saying on paper, it makes all the sense in the world, but it's just not reality for 80 to 85% of America.
Because I seen you where it was like a 15-year mortgage is $1,375.
Yeah.
A regular mortgage is $850.
Yeah.
Some people need that difference of the cash flow.
Yeah. In that example, I think I did 400,000 deal because I made it more New York, right? And that's not even reasonable for New York.
No,
I should have said 650.
That's a great deal in New York.
That's a great deal in New York. But the difference in payment between the 30-year and the 15-year for that post was $700, $739, I believe, right? I said, listen, if you do the math, how much interest was being paid on the 15-year, I mean, the difference in interest is only like $200,000, right? But if I now take that $700 and I spread it out over that time, I mean, that's $8-9 grand a year. Mm-hmm. So you figure in 15 years, that's like $150,000 in my pocket.
That you can do something with.
That you can do something with to make more money. Like, why would I want to? Life happens, man. Life happens. People get sick, people die. Shit, Kobe just died in a helicopter crash, right? God bless the dead and everybody who was in an accident, but no one's expecting that to happen, right? Things happen. And if you are stuck to a higher payment when life happens, you're screwed. And I've seen that happen I'm a transactional person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I hear the sob stories all day long from people who lose homes, they go through death, divorce, whatever the case may be. People, you can't afford that. Yeah. So why put yourself in that position when you can just go to the 30-year, use half of that money to pay down your principal balance. You can still probably pay off the loan in 20 years, and you still have another half that you could put into utilities, things of that nature. Look, property taxes go up every year, bro. Homeowners insurance goes up every year. So especially if you at that 15-year mortgage, especially in New York, taxes 10, 12 grand minimum, right? Some areas 20 grand. It's expensive. So now you start off at 10 grand on taxes, and year 2, now you at 12.5. That's extra couple $100 a month in your payment now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now if you start off at the 15-year, let's just say it's $3,000. Now year 2, you at $3,250. What if it goes up another $100 the next year? And then you're at $3,300. Now it's not affordable no more. You know, and people talk about, you got to sacrifice, maybe don't out to eat. That's great, but you still have to have a life. You know what I'm saying? And I think you can do more with a 30-year. It gives you that flexibility. Mm-hmm. You're able to really live your life. You're able to now invest. Now, if you make a certain amount of money and your debt to income ratio is low and paying that extra payment doesn't affect you, because
great, that's a perfect fit. Like you said, you got to analyze everything.
You got to analyze it. 2-person household, make a couple $100,000 combined, 15-year, that doesn't mean nothing to you. Okay,
makes sense.
It makes sense for you, but for the average everyday person, a 15-year mortgage just, to me,
over 50% of Americans make less than $30,000 a year.
Bro, that's like how they could barely try to get a mortgage. Period. Versus a 15-year. Yeah. Most people in our community, and I see this because I'm the loan guy. Yeah. I'm looking at documents all day long. Even the people who are making $100,000, $200,000
can't afford it.
They can't afford it because they live in paycheck to paycheck, because they have student loans, they have this, they have that, they have child care, man.
It's expensive.
It's expensive, man. Everywhere around the country, no matter where you from, child care is expensive.
So I guess his perspective is just from a certain percentage of people that conversation was going to. But he's got such a wide platform. He should really. He should really,
and I don't listen to a lot of his content. I did years ago, but I quickly saw all right, he's only talking to really one demographic of person, right? Yeah. He's not talking to the everyday. Not everyone can pay off all their debt in 18 months. Like when I see him post, he's like, dude, that's not, how much do they make?
Hopes and dreams, right?
Right. Put that out there. They make $450,000 a year, and they were able to pay off their debt in 18 months. They had discipline, but you're not putting how much income they're making.
Yeah,
I would be surprised. Show me that they made $50,000 a year and they paid off $300,000 in debt in 18 months. And I'm like, all right, now you got my attention. Yeah. Right? What did they really do, and how did they do this? Right? I think that's a little bit more interesting when people in this social media
give the whole picture. Well, you got to understand. At the end of the day, I think you and I kind of understand. It's still a show. It's still
absolutely.
So there's some facts to what he's saying, but then all the details would make more sense.
And look, I want everybody to be clear. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Of course not. The guy's done a lot.
He's a legend in his own right. You know what I'm saying? He's helped a lot of people.
A lot.
You know, a lot of people came to his defense on that post. And look, more power to him, right? I don't think anybody who's teaching financial literacy, more power to you, right? Because all communities need it. But I think every situation is different. It's like your fingerprint. None of us in this room right now have the same fingerprint or the same DNA. Yeah. You know, everything has to be customized for you and your family and what works best for you and your family.
So it makes perfect sense. So one of my goals is definitely to get people to own more property, whether it's primary residence, investment property. Mm-hmm. Even though I talk a lot about wholesaling, it's more about, hey, look, you need to actually start owning some of this stuff. Before somebody comes to see you, what are 3 things they should prep before coming to see you?
Mindset, credit, savings.
Got it.
Period.
So you need to get your mind right, get your CEO of your life and your business.
Correct.
Your life is a business. You need to make sure your credit is good. Now, don't shy away from that because you have resources to help them.
Absolutely. We definitely have the resources.
And then make sure you start saving some freaking money.
Saving money, man. People...
Because you're going to need some money. No matter what product you get, you're going to need a little bit of money.
I don't care if you're getting a down payment assistance. I don't care if you're getting some sort of grant. I don't care if you're doing a VA loan with 100% financing and the sellers are paying closing costs. You still need money. You should never be house rich and cash poor, period, point blank. And if you're not getting down payment assistance, closing cost grants, or VA loan or USDA loan with 100%, you have to start saving for closing costs.
Correct.
You know, people are not saving for their closing costs. People only talk about down payment.
Because then you guys put an offer in. You're with the realtor and you're trying to buy a house I just flipped. Mm-hmm. And you put an offer in. I see this all the time from the side of a flipper. And you put an offer in, you need down payment assistance.
Yeah. Or you want closing costs.
Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I got a clean offer over here.
Yeah.
And you missed out on the house.
It's all about your terms,
because you was asking me for $3,000 and I need the $3,000.
Yeah. It's all about your terms, right? And I tell people this all the time. In real estate, if you're making offers, it's all about your terms.
100%.
Right? And if you have bad terms, and especially if you're an end buyer and you're buying a flip from Max, come on, it's competition because Max is going to do the property right. He's not putting a cheap crap in a week. It's gone. So there's competition. So you got to come with your best and final. And most of these home buyers out here are not saving for that down payment because a lot of people put in their head, oh, the seller can pay this or this can pay that. It's not necessarily true. They don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, Max, reserves.
Yeah, especially the market we're in now is such a seller's market at this point.
Absolutely.
So you better come with the right terms on your offer.
You got to come with the right terms. And I think if I was to throw a bonus on those 3 things, I would put like 3A, reserves. You need money after everything's all said and done. You know, I hate when I see people using all their money to buy a home and they just have nothing for that rainy day.
Here's what I'm going to do for you. Well, here's what I want to do to challenge you.
Okay.
I want you, when we get off this podcast, for you and your team to create a 30-day challenge.
Okay.
So that people can do.
I like this.
I want it free.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do this.
Yeah, we're going to do it free. Right.
So I want the 30-day challenge free. And every day of the month, pick a long month. Don't do February. Pick a long month. And I want you to have people do something every single day in their life to prep so that they can come and be part of the land ownership or get a house or whatever. But I want this challenge to help people with financial literacy. In 30 days, they should start on day 1. On 30 days, should be a better person, understand financial literacy. And that way, when they do come to you or when they are ready to purchase a property, whether it's for personal use or investment, they have everything they need.
Absolutely. I'm up
do that for me.
I'm up for that challenge.
And when you put that challenge out, I'll make sure my people also see that challenge.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely put that together. I think that's a smart play. People need a challenge to get motivated.
Well, I think now these days definitely, because it's if you like, I did a 30-day wholesaling challenge where every day I broke down every little tiny thing. I
saw that you was breaking down day 1, day 2,
because
day 3.
Some people think of, I got to buy a house, and they see this big old picture of I got to buy a house.
Okay,
but for somebody like you that's been in the business for so long, you can break it down step by step. No, today do this, today do this, today do this, today do that, and then by the time you put it together, it's a big picture.
Done.
So they'll do that for me. How can people get a hold of you, man?
So if you want to get a hold of me, MG the Mortgage Guy on YouTube and Instagram. You could click the link in my bio on my Instagram page.
Because you're doing like consultations for the free. Because I see you post on your Instagram. Yeah. I got 127 consultations this week.
Yeah. Okay. So we do free consultations. We don't charge anybody for that. You get 15, 20 minutes with me or one of my team members. If you want to apply for a loan, we lend nationwide. So no matter if you're in North Carolina, Kentucky, Colorado.
You're talking about personal residence all the way to hard money.
I'm talking personal residence all the way to hard money. I'm talking fix and flip. I'm talking even if you want to go commercial, I can help you with commercial properties, but I'm only sticking with multifamilies and mixed use properties on commercial. But anything you need within that residential space, I'm your guy. MG the Mortgage Guy on Instagram and YouTube. Click the link in my bio. You can apply for a loan. Apply for a consultation. Shoot me a DM. If you do shoot me a DM, please be patient.
Be patient, bro.
Be patient. There'll be a lot of people in the DMs. If you send me an email, I don't recommend emailing me. That's even worse than
just book a call.
Just book a call, man. Within 48 hours, like I used to have it to where, and I just changed it this week, right? Where people can actually have my online calendar and book the times that will work for them. But we're finding like that post, right? That's my online calendar. So now I'm finding that people are booking calls that may want to refinance, but they're 2 weeks out. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is way too much now.
Yeah.
That's refinancing cash out. When rates are low, you got to strike.
Yeah, correct.
Now these people are waiting a week.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks to speak to me because of my calendar. So now I put in a new system just fresh this week. There's no more time you can book. Now we get the alerts. We're calling people right away now. So if you book a call within 48 hours, and if we, depending on volume, because we get a lot.
You're going to get some people.
I have a whole team dedicated now just to hit those calls so we can get to people within that 48-hour time frame, answer their questions, and get them on their way and get them started, man. So that's lovely, man. That's all the link in my bio, and it's all for free.
Love it.
No charging for that.
Look, man, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm going to hold you to this 30-day challenge.
I like that.
Thank you for coming to North Carolina.
NC, what's up? What's good, NC?
Make sure you guys reach out to him, Instagram, YouTube, book a call with him. Start thinking about, you're wholesaling a lot now. Start thinking about, let's actually start owning some rental properties. Let's start buying some investments. We're the grassroots of real estate investing. Let's have a plan. My plan is wholesale 7, buy 1. Come up with a plan that fits you and your lifestyle to get you to that next level. And if you need money to do it, hit my guy MG up and make sure you're right. I'll see you guys on the other side. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe, click that bell, share it with a friend. And if you're listening anywhere in podcast world, please do me a favor. Give me 5 stars so we can keep bringing you this fire content. And like always, I see you on the other side. Peace.
Peace.